Let's have a word with the man himself. Good morning, John Delaney. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, morning, Ryan.
They're not great headlines to be waking up to for personal and other reasons. Which one do you want to talk about first?
We'll probably take the Emma one first,
okay,
because that's been very much on our minds the last number of weeks.
You've had enormous coverage since you started dating Emma, obviously, as you would, because you're somebody in the public eye, and now she is. So, have you been adjusting to that sort of attention?
Yeah, the first thing I'd say, Ryan, we didn't want to be in the public eye at the start. We'd been dating for about 6 weeks, and the media were going to run with 2 Sunday articles about us. And effectively, what we did is we would do an interview with them based on getting our message out and not denying and all that sort of stuff. So when it came to the public's attention, I suppose it did become a big story. Both of us have always kind of kept our personal life very, very private, and it has kind of somersaulted us into being written about quite a bit. We've tried to kind of tone that down, trying not to do as many articles as you would want to do. But it's certainly in the public's conscience for sure now. But something that we didn't seek, and I have to be very strong on that, and Emma would be as well.
The stuff that we're talking about, the trolling story as featured in the... I'm kind of reluctant to give too much coverage to trolls because I think they love it.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, journalists, as we know, we're trying to call ourselves, myself, a journalist, but the people like Senan Hogan and others will find the mean stuff and use it as part of an article, which is totally legitimate. I'm not criticising him at all, but your other half has now become part of the story.
Well, I mean, listen, the majority of the Irish soccer supporters are fantastic. I mean, everyone knows in the past I've had a terrific relationship with them, and Emma has accompanied me to the Belfast Irish Supporters Clubs and to London and other events around the country, where there's always a terrific reception. But unfortunately on this website, You Boys in Green, where there are some very good Irish supporters as well, it seems to me have got dominated by a certain section over the last number of weeks. And I don't mind criticism of how the FAI is ran, if it's ran well or badly or whatever it would be, whether the management team I've appointed is right or not in Martin O'Neill or Roy Keane, or whether we built the stadium or not. But I'd take huge offence to, as does she, to some of the language that's been put towards her. She should have no involvement in any comment that's made about the FAI or about me in my stewardship.
The language sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they apologised yesterday to her, but the sad thing about it, the apology comes on the website, and then afterwards there's another, there's more threads of abuse towards her. You know, so they put up an apology and say, we're sorry, and we're going to make a donation to charity, and that's fine, and I accept that there's good people in there. But then the lunatics come in afterwards and have a go again, and that's very distressing for her and her family. We're both parents as well. There's 6 children. Emma has 4. Of course, I have 2. And she's had to sit down with her children and explain to them what's happened, because obviously some of them have been on the website. She's a boy 20 years of age, and a daughter was 15. And their friends have said it to her, said it to them. So it's very distressing for her and her family, and it's just not part of what Irish society should be about. It's cyberbullying at its worst, and anybody involved in it should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm mystified as to why people want to have a go at Emma.
This doesn't make sense.
Is it to get to you? Is that the point? Are they trying to get at you for whatever reason?
But possibly so. It could be jealousy with some of these guys. I don't know, Emma. Or Ryan, I don't know. But it's built up over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and she's genuinely distressed about it. Genuinely is. We went away for a couple of days just to kind of get our mind away from it. And yet over that weekend it got worse. Some of the comments were just, I mean, as you say, you could mention them.
No, I'm not going to repeat the words used.
No way.
Because it's not appropriate, and it actually disgusts me. But what also worries me is the effect it'll have on a child. And you say, the piece quotes Emma as saying, I've had to sit down with my 11-year-old son who cried his eyes out that people were speaking about his mother like this.
Yeah, that is true. That's absolutely true. And dreadful. And I mean, these guys who post these comments are probably parents themselves, probably have wives and children themselves. They should think about that before they hide is the word, behind pseudonyms or whatever it is. I mean, if they had the guts to come up to you and face you down and say whatever to you, you'd have more respect for them. And it is outrageous and it is wrong, and she is genuinely very distressed.
Do you think one of them would come up to your face if you were out with them and say such things?
No, they wouldn't. And you know, some of the threads I've read, these guys have approached me in the past and thanked me for something. You know, it's duplicity at its worst.
What do you mean?
They thank me for, you know, they've actually said in their on some of the threads, guys would say, "Oh, I met John at this event and he said that," or whatever it would be. So they'll meet you out at various football functions. Some of these guys, and I've got to be very clear, this is a very tiny minority because Irish fans are brilliant. But they've actually said on the thread, they've approached John, I've spoken to him about something, and then they'll go on these websites and give it a lash about you or your partner. And that's just cowardice, you know, it's cowardice.
What do you say to Emma to try and put her mind at rest? She's obviously distressed.
Well, it's very hard as a man who wants to protect your woman, right? Every man likes to protect their woman, that's what you do. It's very hard to protect against cyberbullying. It's very, very difficult. That's the hardest part. You can protect your loved ones in many ways, but cyberbullying is a very difficult way to do it because it's done in a very cowardly way. It's done behind names that you know, not behind real names, as I put it. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult to try and tell her it's nothing to do with her, that it's just jealousy, or on top of that, it's aimed at trying to upset me and whatever it would be. But it's not an easy one because it's done in a very cowardice way and in a way that you can't really confront anybody directly on.
There's one way around it that can be of use, which is to just not go online as much, or at least don't go to comments online, because it seems to attract, you know, an unhinged minority of people who wouldn't have the guts to say something on a given day in face to face. But they're loud, they're irritating, and they can get under the skin if you let them.
Yeah, I think that the problem here is that this was appearing on a forum that the FAI works very closely with. We've worked with the boys in green for a large number of years, giving them signed jerseys, working on fans, supporters matches, working with them on ticket distributions, whatever it would be. So for quite a while, we've had a working relationship with this particular forum. And I must say there are some very good people on that forum as well, and there's good people who we've dealt with. But, I mean, I suppose the real point here is that to a younger generation, young children, you know, it's a very bad example to young Irish soccer supporters, you know, growing up to be watching this sort of commentary on a forum that the FAI have worked closely with in the past and would hope to in the future as well.
And how's Emma today?
She's very upset. She's devastated. She's very upset. I mean, that's as much as I say. I mean, it's a lot of these things I think she's said in private amongst herselves too. But she's very upset because to sit down with your 11-year-old boy and have to explain something like that to him is not something that any parent would want to do.
No. Is there anything you can do about this, do you think, you know, in the first instance?
I just hope that the guys in those websites would now just stick to football. And if they have criticisms of the FAI or me as how it's ran, that's fine. That's opinion. They're entitled to that. But to bring, I mean, some of the comments about myself too, right? I mean, honestly, it's just outrageous, you know. And I think some of them are even well past the grounds of vulgar abuse. They're really in the legal arena. But I think just stick to football matters. Stick to the stewardship of the association. Stick to issues about football and stewardship, as opposed to personal insults about Emma or I or my family or anything like that.